What's up, guys? How you doing? Hey, Kyler. What's up, man? Long time no see. Hey, guy. So we did like 2 or 3 endings yesterday on stream. We're gonna try and get a couple more today. For whatever reason, when I opened the game this time, now it says, before we get started, can I just say something? So at the end of the game yesterday, we ended the stream with where the game told us to, like, quit the game. That's where we're at now. So yesterday, the game was like, you're going to be in a repeating, you played it yesterday, only for like 20 minutes. Not a lot yesterday, Kyler. And so I was told by chat yesterday I'd only done endings that were in the original. So we only played like for 20 minutes and only got like 2, I think. And one of the endings I got was where I just listened to the narrator all the way through, so the super basic one. But yeah, so one of the endings we got yesterday was the narrator saying, quit the game. So we did that. Now it's saying, before we get started, which did not happen when I booted the game up last time. Oh, hey. Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you've booted up the game. A lot of people don't take that step seriously. They just leave the clock set at midnight and call it a day. That's true, I did set the clock correctly both times. But you're actually taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. That's how I know you care about this experience. You're paying attention. I don't even have any way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. That's not true. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, next time you boot up the game and see this screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whichever time you want, even if it's not the correct time. Alright, I'll let you get back to the game. Okay. Hey, gamer.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big...
Yeah, I know. What's up, Neku? Achievement unlocked. Welcome back. Interesting. Alright, where did we leave off?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
That's fine. Don't need to see the coworkers. Wish you could play solitaire. I see that it's set up on one of the work computers. I want to go play that.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door.
I kind of don't remember much of what we did yesterday, if I'm being honest.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might... Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around, coming to a
Last time we went
staircase.
downstairs,
Stanley
we went
walked
nuts, so let's go
to his
upstairs.
boss's office.
And is there a different path we can take up here? Not really. in the closet for funny. We tried that for a little bit yesterday.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to
Do I
discover
remember
not
the
an
code?
indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as
forgot to
quickly
turn
as
off my,
possible. He didn't even have
AC.
a
I
single
thought for
minute
sure
to
I
just
turned it
let
off.
the narrator talk.
Guess not.
That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward. Into
Thank
the
you for the
open
calming music.
passageway.
Or whatever. What if I try to break out instead of going through the open doorway? I can't. Well.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question.
We should go down the escape way this
Why
time.
did he feel this now?
And then run back
when for
out.
years, it had never occurred to him. This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Let's try this time.
But of course, Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
No, I probably don't.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I feel like there'd probably be commentary for like just standing in this room for a while, but keep moving.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible.
I
to
must be the
believe it
fired
couldn't be
employee, right?
true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
What does that one camera say with like the terminal code? Wish I could zoom.
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His
Pirate?
own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Who is this narrator guy?
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Console commands? Can you? I don't think so.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Just kidding.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Yes.
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event
That's not
that
a
this
joke.
machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off.
A
But
Resident
what
Evil
precious
sequence,
moments are
Metroid
to
ending
use.
game
More
sequence.
time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start.
2, where's number 3?
You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what
I
happened.
bet this is 4 up here.
I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this.
I mean, to
though,
be fair,
this
I'm basically just going to
has
keep
been
pushing
rather
buttons until I
amusing.
die alone anyway.
Watching you try to make sense of
5.
everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite
That didn't,
rich.
like,
I
do
almost
anything.
hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra
Oh,
time
let's
on
shut
the
that
clock.
door.
Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now?
Yeah.
Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing.
But
in
I
this
hit the
room.
1 through 5.
These numbered buttons. No, these colored ones.
What?
Or maybe this
He's
big
making
red
fun of me
button.
now.
Or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death.
So
You're
deep.
only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy.
I hit 2
You
though.
wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle.
You said that at less than 30.
Until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever up.
Oh. Well, you probably are supposed to do something there. Or maybe the numbers are part of the joke.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ooh, a door that says new
Oh.
content.
New content? What does that mean, new content?
I like new content. You know what I would also like? It would be cool to play a game that was like the ending sequence of every Metroid game. Or like you have to like do a bunch of platforming in a timer.
And thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video
Because
game
Nintendo's been
released in
releasing like
2013
small
on
segments of
home
their game
computers.
on the Switch.
After receiving
That would be a
critical
cool thing.
and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
I feel weird that we might
This
already
sounds
be in the
delightful.
extra
I'm very
content.
excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Because I never did the original content. So we're just skipping over all the stuff from the original game? Am I that good? Have I already beaten it?
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Look at that.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
I never did the original content though. I won't know the context for the new content. That's a flaw.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
People watching my channel. Give me the content. Where is the
Alright.
content?
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Cool. Oh, you can't jump outside of the circle. Ah, I can't make it. The bench! Okay. Oh, I actually can't jump anymore. Achievement unlocked, you can't jump. I did it.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, Initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content?
Hey, don't talk about the
If this
newest
is
Mario
new
game
content,
like that.
then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could counter 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
This is basically a Western visual novel. Oh, well, thank you.
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department
That's true.
signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and
You want
hold them
achievements.
personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset
Test
the
achievement
game
description,
and we'll
replace
try to
this.
get back to what the Stanley
Bruh.
Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always.
Don't play the Stanley Parable
you
for
say,
10
friend?
years. Wow. I'm sorry, what was he saying? I was reading the achievement list. This is a new office. Oh, it's a picture of the old office. Cute.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
That's how all good stories have started. Alright, yeah, sure. I got like 2 endings of the original Stanley Parable, and now I'm here already. Narrator is sus. This feels like very, like Portal without the, game mechanics.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Oh, gross, it's
I call
outside.
it the memory zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the memory zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before
No.
it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched?
No.
Back then, video games had integrity.
I
Back
don't
then,
remember the original
it all
launch.
meant something. Oh, the waste.
I'll be real with you. I didn't play the original, nor did I ever hear about it. Apparently it won some awards, though, so good for it. I feel like those are spoilers for endings. Motorola? Who uses Firefox? This section is probably for like fans of the game. Even though I never played the OG one. Smile because it happened. $1. It is impossible to get this achievement, bro. That would piss me off. That's not one of the achievements for this version, is it? No. Click on door 430 5 times. Okay. So we'll do that next time I go back to the normal game. Creator's surprisingly down to earth. Hey, that's the ending where I died. I remember that ending. In loving memory, little Stanley. Aww. Was that like an office pet, I wonder? Cute. Please don't play music.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all.
There's the Persona reference.
The Stanley
Let's go.
Parable anymore. It's just
Now
a
this channel
husk
is
now.
complete.
A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
Guys, maybe I'll get my viewers back now that there's a Persona reference, guys. Remember? Remember when I played Persona and I had views? Good time. Oh my god. That's Roblox. My favorite game. And that's also Roblox. That's a light bulb. Mac. My number's not 29, it's 427.
Here's another moving passage, this time
Repeatable
from
carpet
GameSpot.com.
textures.
The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games, and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Fun fact, I got banned on GameSpot for advertising my YouTube channel. I had an account on GameSpot for years. Used to use it all the time. Had hundreds of forum posts. Wrote a couple game guides. Shit talked a lot. I can't get into the serious room. Okay, goodbye. Puzzle? I don't get it. Well, I guess we leave here.
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Oh, God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Unlikely.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Up your butt. Can I drive the forklift? I wonder if that was an actual review. That would be funny.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Nonsense. It was the perfect game. It was every game. That's why I didn't play it when it came out. I didn't want to reach the peak yet. I didn't want to experience perfection so soon.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button?
Cookie?
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Customer's always right. There's something behind here. Guess not.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this. The story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all, until the end of time.
This is what half of the
Which
streamers'
time, everything
commentary
all
on
at once.
games are
So,
like.
Now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet. No, no, until two. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made
Let's check the
by
reviews
person
to
who
see if
you
those reviews are
or
actually
were or
left.
will be at the time of having made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being.
The number one
by
review
making
is
no
don't read
choice
any
and saying
reviews
nothing,
by
are you not
Destructoid.
simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips to go poof, and it's all over. Oh, I can't wait to see what Cookie 9 will say about this, and whether they'll edit the rating of their Steam review, or at least change some of the wording, perhaps. To be honest,
Get
I
fucked,
don't even
Cookie
know if
9.
one can change their review in the first place. I guess I should become better educated on exactly how Steam works. Perhaps that would have been the smart thing to check on before I went about this whole exercise of making the skip button. Although I have to imagine that after seeing this exciting new technology at work, surely whoever it is runs Steam will instantly run out and implement a new feature to make it possible to edit one's review.
Valve
Merely because of this very situation.
Adding a new feature
Yes,
to anything? I don't think
that's
so.
Quite likely. Or perhaps they'll simply grant this particular user the ability to change their review, so that the feature is not widely abused. Look, I would even be okay with Steam altering this particular review so that it reads as something more beneficial. Something along the lines of, this game is the best game. Let me start over. How about this? From the ashes of depravity rises the phoenix of quality. How else to describe the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe? Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer.
Where did the door
one was,
go?
well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable by any means, but well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we...
Or imagine being a game dev petty enough to make a whole expansion pack to their game just to insult someone who left a bad review.
Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button, to go anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times, and there's no door, Stanley. There's no door. There's just you and the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that...
Sometimes I wonder if this is about to become a horror game.
Right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my words were
Source
moving.
engine horror game would be cool.
Vessel I needed, Stanley, not the
I know that was one of the canceled
None of
Half-Life
that
games.
matters anymore. I'll give it all up. I'll give
It's
up
like that,
every
I don't
branching
know if you
path.
remember that,
I'll
like,
burn my
zombie
story
Riven
to the
Home
ground.
section
One
of,
single thing I need,
Half-Life
and God,
2.
I can see now
That was
that I
supposed
need
to
it
be
more
like a
than
whole
anything,
game.
is to know that someone else is taking it in. These words that I'm saying,
And
I
it
need to
ended up getting
know
just
you
cut
can
down
hear
and
me.
put
Because
as a
maybe,
level.
Stanley, maybe, if you can hear me,
That,
then
like,
maybe
Riven Home level, I think it was
means
called.
I'm real. Maybe I'm not just a fiction. Was I scared of that all along? Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about
You mean
everything
atmospheric
we've been
horror?
through. I've
I
had
don't know if you
so
could
much
do that
time.
with,
I stopped keeping track
Source
after a
engine.
year.
Maybe
Have you ever
Source
sat
2.
down in one place and not move for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing.
Although, did
at
they
all
ever
but
make a game
regret
with Source
for
2?
the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly.
He's gone. He's doing a lot of talking, so there hasn't been a lot of room for me to be doing it talking. Man, you really don't like this narrator, do you, Juice? I think he has a soothing voice. I thought that was a camera, but it must be a fire detector or something.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demands.
Yeah. Okay. Am I just here now? Is this the game? A drip of water from the pipe. Maybe this place is collapsing in on itself. One can hope.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
There's a lot of leaks now.
End is never the end, 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 is never the.
Feels like this is their attempt at doing the the infamous "the cake is a lie" line.
End is never the end.
I bet you a lot of people who are a big fan of this game are posting like "the end is never the end" over and over again.
Is never the end. 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 Is never the end.
Feels a little bit forced, whereas "the cake is a lie" was like a viral meme of its own accord. It didn't try.
Is never the end. Is never the.
Really leaking now. Like your mom in here. It's like the Portal 2 now. Isn't that on the loading screens? Yeah. Where the facility is falling apart. This would smell so bad. This literally is Portal 2 now. Oh. I thought the button had disappeared. We've reached the end of time. The original game had a big Portal reference, so it doesn't surprise me. Like I said, this seems like Portal without the game mechanics. This is just kind of like a Western visual novel. It's a Futurama reference? How?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
There's an achievement for clicking on this door 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4,
Oh,
5.
please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away for such little effort. A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
Okay. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 24, 25.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true
Hey, Lord
effort
Liberator.
for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Power through those.
No, I'm still not feeling it. I
Bruh.
want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417?
Yeah. Cookie clicker. Where's door 417?
Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
You needy bitch. Wait, was it 437 or 427? I don't remember which one it was, guys. Luckily, I can look this 437 up. Alright. I know there's more new content, but I want to click the door.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he
Shit.
entered the door on his left.
No, that's 413. I went the wrong way.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Coming to a staircase. All of his co-workers were gone. What
I gotta
could
do it all
mean?
again.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, it's right there. That's what. Fuck. I missed it. It's out of order.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth? No. I can't just give these merits away.
No, I
for
do
such
want the
little
skip
effort.
button.
A measly 5 clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition. I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks.
Speedrun!
No, I'm still not feeling it. I want this achievement to have meant something. It has to be a true reward for valiant effort. I want to see some hustle, Stanley. I want to see commitment, a willingness to go all the way, no matter what the cost. Why don't you go put 20 clicks into door number 417? Oh, great. Now, go click a few times on door 437.
I got it. Now we're caught back up. The speedrun strats.
Excellent. I think we're getting somewhere. Now, door 415. Let's give it 10 clicks or so.
That voice line got cut off. Alright, 415. 415.
Now, back to door number 437.
Yeah. We're playing a game now, boys. We got the mechanics.
Let's see. How about you click on, well, I don't know, the copy machine?
Okay.
All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere.
Yeah. I'm on it. Gonna open that fucking 417 door.
Okay, now go climb on employee 419's desk. Yes, this is great. You're putting it all on the line, Stanley. I like that. All right, let's keep it up. Go give me a few clicks on door 416.
Okay. Or it was 416. Achievement Hunter, dude. I used to be a big Achievement Hunter back in the day. Fuck. Where's 416?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, coming to a...
Now I gotta do it again.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed to get to the meeting room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again.
Where's door 416? I should make a note of that before I restart. Is it the other way?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Nope.
And
What the fuck is 416? Is it the unlabeled door?
how long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself.
That's a new thing.
Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on.
That's a new intro. Let's go to the new content.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes,
Oh, that's
I have
416.
something very exciting to show you.
No, it doesn't pick up where I left off. I'll give it a minute before I restart. Oh, that door says new content too. Wow. A lot of new stuff over here.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley parable and about how
do you
roundly
guys think, Jack?
disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be.
You guys think the Ultra
original
Deluxe is
Stanley
disappointing?
parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Wow.
Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up.
There's color.
There are so many possibilities. It
A
could go
Mac.
in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean?
Taste
But
the sequel.
Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Long-term franchising potential is very important. Do you think they'll make an iPhone too? Guys, isn't that funny? Oh, that must be the office for the sequel. I don't know what those are. Are those little clocks? This is where all the budget for the sequel went, right into these fancy new rooms. The color red, yeah, wow. Paradigm shift. Okay. Thanks for attending my meeting. Neat. I feel like these logos are all like reference, like mocking other sequel game logos, but I don't recognize them all. Cool red section of the chart.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
And me personally, I am a fan of the color red. Crab, the ultimate sequel. Sequels are good. Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman Arkham Asylum 2, City, Divinity Original Sin 2, Doom 2, Aladdin 2, Return of Jafar, Dark Souls 2. Damn, Halo has fallen so far that Halo 2, one of the games that, like, made Xbox Live a success and launched, like, multiplayer gaming on fucking consoles, not on that list. Brutal. I mean, you knew Portal 2 was going to be up there first because this game is like Portal 2. But, you know. .343 has completely destroyed the legacy of Halo, and that made me salty.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Hear your name in the game. The thing is, my name is so common, I wouldn't be shocked if they actually had it voiced in the game.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience
I don't want to
of
be
this
Jim.
feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim?
I am
right
now, that you
If
mentioned
so,
dreams
then
crushing to
please
dust.
Step forward and press the button.
Yeah.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
Jim.
Oh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
And imagine if your your name was actually Jim. It'd be a euphoric moment. Truly. The peak.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
I feel like that's a reference to something. If it was Jim, though, wouldn't the game be called the Jim Parable? I mean, come on, that's just silly. Ray traced more of the same, but in a good way. Are you enjoying this more than Portal? No. I am not.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along.
How you
12th
dick.
birthday step-niece it is.
I don't have a step-niece. That balloon didn't make it. Wanna pop it. Now they all have a picture of that
Or
stupid
actually,
balloon.
Maybe I should have gone with... No. No, I've made my decision. We're moving on. You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
I wanted an achievement. It just works. Hey.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
It's like every 343 blog post for every update of Halo Infinite. We hear you. Bruh. Gamers, we've heard that you would like games to be good and finished. We hear you. We're doing the best we can.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Progress is still going smoothly after 7 years. The game is almost complete. But please, in the meantime, give us your patience and buy the next battle pass. Season 2 coming soon. Wow. This t-shirt is the best new feature. I wonder, do you guys think this, I saw the new content. Do you think that QR code goes anywhere? Welcome to the official website of the Stanley Parable 2. A sequel, huh? Watch our helpful and informative video to learn about the Stanley Parable and what the journey of becoming a sequel is all about. That's it. The video is funny. I'll link it in the chat. There you go. I would actually probably buy that. I saw the new content shirt. That's kind of funny. I would like a reassurance bucket.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind.
Oh, that would be nice.
It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution.
I agree.
Give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well?
Thank you.
I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
I have a bucket now. Thank you. This door is gonna close and it's gonna say I can't leave with the bucket, isn't it? Oh no.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Well, I, for one, am enjoying the bucket.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Not yet. That's probably how I leave this area. Gotta make sure I checked everything before I go down the hole. The old rabbit hole, as they say.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines.
No, thank
and
you.
what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Cool. Well, now it's gonna drive me nuts that I only
God, it
have one
really
of 6.
is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
It is tragic. Settings World Champion. What's that?
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Do you think they actually made the bobblehead? Oh, can you only go there if you have that achievement? Back is killing me, Jesus, I'm fucking old now. I think we did everything. Jumped down the hole, I guess. Right? Did we do everything? Or I guess we just normal person. Although that hole does seem tempting. What do I do with this bucket?
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
That suitcase just random.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay. Are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than
It would have
anything
been
to create
funny if it was a
sequel
recreation
that
of
would
the
capture
first
all the
room in
magic
Portal.
of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game.
Absolutely not.
Would it possibly work?
No one uses
Suppose it could,
integrity.
But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Wow. This does look a lot better. Simplified controls. Would you need simpler controls than this? Fantastic. Now we're really getting somewhere. But now I feel
This is the
uncomfortable
story of a man
playing a
named
sequel
Stanley.
before playing the original. When it was just called Ultra Deluxe,
Stanley
it was
worked
okay
a
for me to
company
buy
in a big
it.
building where he was
But now that it's called
number
the Stanley Parable 2,
427.
now I gotta go back and buy the other one.
Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor.
I wonder
on
if
the
this will be
desk,
any different, because
telling
it showed
him
the
what buttons
balloons.
to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single
I was just
order
making a joke,
had arrived
humor.
on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong.
But the good
Shocked,
news,
frozen solid, Stanley found
we have
himself
the
unable to
balloons.
move for the longest time. But as he
My
came to his
step-niece
wits
will
and
love them.
regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Bucket.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
The bucket is the new companion cube. Very nice. Did you do the door clicking? Oh, oh, 416 is there now. I can do the door clicking now. Let's go.
Oh, please. Are you really just doing this for the achievement? Click a door 5 times. Is that all that you think an achievement is worth?
Yeah.
No. I
We had-
can't
we had
just
to try
take
this
these
again.
merits away
I've
for
messed it
such
up.
little effort.
416
A
didn't
measly
exist last
5
time.
Clicks. Now suppose you were to click the door 20 times. I would say that's the kind of effort that warrants recognition.
To do the new endings, you have to do the old endings, but with the bucket. That's funny.
I have to say, I'm still not feeling the satisfaction of witnessing true effort for a noble cause. Perhaps 50 clicks will do it. Yes, almost certainly 50 clicks. No, I'm still not feeling it. You see, now that you've gotten the bucket involved,
Oh.
my standards have gone up. Merely clicking a single door is no longer enough. Now, I want to see you press this bucket against multiple doors. Now, that's the kind of thing that merits an achievement. Why don't you put 20 bucket touches into door 417?
Well, it's a different game now.
Okay, great. Now, go touch the bucket on door 437 a few times. Yes, now we're getting somewhere. How about door 415? Give it some bucket love.
All about the bucket love.
Now back to door number 437. You know, I think the copy machine needs some attention. Why don't you rub the bucket on it a bit? All right, back to room 417. I'm really feeling it now. I think we're getting somewhere. Okay, now bring the bucket on top of employee 419's desk. Yes, this is great. Now the bucket knows exactly what it's like to be employee 419. Now, let's introduce it to door 416. We've almost got it. Now make the bucket and the copy machine touch again.
I don't like the way you said that.
Finish it off, Stanley. 5 touches of the bucket on door 430. Yes! We did it! Wow, that felt amazing. You know, not all buckets will
I got
have
the
this
achievement.
kind of experience.
Let's go.
They won't all know what it's like to slam repeatedly against nearly every door in one section of an office building, or what it's like to be employee 419. Buckets may dream of an experience like this, but few can say they've truly lived it. You've given a bucket hope today. Stanley, I'm very proud of you.
Thanks, Dad. I mean, narrator. Okay. Alright, let's do the listen to the narrator ending with the bucket, I guess.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Reminds me of the gnome achievement
Still
Half-Life.
no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I'd never.
Like the companion
Come on,
cube.
Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Well, the companion cube was a cool meme, but it didn't last as long as the cake is a lie.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go.
Oh,
There. Now it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion.
thank you.
Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things. All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate.
Thank you.
See? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
True. I bet you there's a bucket sticker, like for sale, IRL. Where'd my
You know
mouse
what?
go?
I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us a silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
Not until I get another. No.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again
What would that
stunned
camera
to
be even
discover
giving
not
you a
an
view of?
indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Yes.
Was the bucket guiding him? Yes. This is certainly the most logical explanation.
The narrator is the bucket. That's fantastic.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines. The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Thanks.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Wait, I thought the bucket's supposed to be my anchor. The bucket can't
Was
get
the
upset.
bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions
Bucket wants
raced
to be
furiously
filled.
in Stanley's feeble mind.
Feeble? I didn't need to say that.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world.
Isn't the bucket supposed to
At
prevent
this
me from
point,
freaking out?
He could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Fuck yeah. Thanks, bucket.
I knew you had my back.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth.
That's very
Both
specific.
of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support, and to... What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty. Until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave.
I'm supposed to throw the bucket over, huh?
Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket.
Throw it.
No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Probably fine.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Indeed. So soothing. Thank you, bucket. My dearest friend.
Stanley clutched the
Now we'll
bucket
do
tightly
the
to his-
opposite of
This was
everything he
not the
says.
correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No,
Steve.
never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
All right.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking
Jump
to him.
off.
It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
That's a good call.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home where we can go about life together.
The bucket would never prank me with the fake wife.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could
Where's
use
my
a
bucket?
friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Because it can. None of these things are my bucket. Oh.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
Aren't you also just in my head? Bucket, where did you go? Bucket? Dear? Darling? Listen, you're scaring me.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
I won't.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else.
First of all, how dare you?
You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Nor anyone in your life. Easy. I do that already.
Sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket.
I don't need you to be jealous.
Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
You believe I'm real, don't you? Yes.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Because it's not made of plastic.
Oh my God, what am I saying? Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket? Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me
this
what
is
to
very
do
confusing.
in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it.
No.
Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
I didn't close my eyes. This game randomly gets like really tense like that. What happened? Bucket?
All of his co-workers were gone.
Oh,
What
no,
could it
no.
mean?
I'm not.
Stanley decided
that
to go to
fucking
the
bucket
meeting
back.
room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
What happens if I die with the bucket?
Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his
around.
left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Is this
All of
heaven?
his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
This is definitely a new room. It's blue, which makes me uncomfortable.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
No.
Never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
No
the
bucket
cargo
designs
lift,
there.
yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
I don't know why. It's just how I was sitting for the stream.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Wait, where's the dark room over? Oh, yeah.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
I think I'm just doing the same thing now.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head. Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well?
Sequel is now paused. Go the death route with the bucket.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was. Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
It's time to go to the escape path with the bucket. Trust the completionist instinct. Uh-oh. This is different. This is some kind of game. There must be a point. Large room of boxes. Stairs. Something to do with stairs. Somewhere both red and blue. Nearby a fireplace. What is that thing? Okay. All this conspiracy theory stuff. I wonder if they just tell us something will happen. Weird spinning figures. Maybe we are the collectibles. Shut the fuck up. What makes these, what makes them float in the air? True. Where are they? I don't know.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck.
I'm gonna have to listen
Was
to
it
the music,
the
aren't I?
bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Or maybe I don't. Through the power of the bucket.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control for... Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Let's go.
The
Some of
door
these are hard
behind
to
them was
find.
not shut. Stanley and the bucket
Yeah.
still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
This is probably the last one I do.
At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Okay, the bucket will remain strong for me. It's gonna be the same one where the dude's like laying on the sidewalk, except I'm gonna have a bucket on my head. Oh wait. Different ending. You can't do this to me,
As
not
the
with
machine
bucket.
whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure,
How
it
dare
puts
you,
the
dare you.
mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere.
The bucket reminds me of both the
Farewell, Stanley.
the companion cube and the gnome.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death.
No. I thought I was gonna say, and Stanley too, I guess.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
The bucket welcomes you to the exhibit. You were standing at the precipice of knowledge. Okay. Neat.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own?
Claim
Can you
it?
see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
It was given to me. Replica of the Inferno bucket? What the fuck is an Inferno bucket? The Stress bucket. Presented without commentary. Thanks. Bucket cave drawing.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Yeah, but we already established that. Hanging bucket. Oh.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision for...
Did that count as letting Stanley die, or what? No. Well,
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
Mr. Bucket, are you ruling me today?
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket, off on another thrilling adventure together.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling
Have
him
anything good
that
for
the
lunch?
employee
Just pizza.
lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Exciting.
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew...
Oh, God, the baby scared me. Just because I wasn't expecting any
You
faces.
see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes,
I
not
don't
this
remember
bucket that they've never
The
seen
Adventure
before.
Line.
Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it.
Don't you want another story involving the adventure line? We could make the adventure line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
Okay.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
We're doing it.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
The bucket.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True,
refuse.
it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me, it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
No.
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
Just
Now
like in
listen to me.
Portal,
It's
I think
crucial
there's a
that
way
you
to
give it
skip
the
this.
bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
The important thing is I did not betray the bucket.
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now.
Don't believe the lies.
New friend, for the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Goodbye, Bucket Destroyer. Alright. I think that's enough of the endings today. Wait a minute.
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
Alright. Yeah. That was it.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him.
Alright, yeah. Thanks for watching today, guys. Hope you enjoyed. We hung out with the bucket. That was cool. I do love me the bucket. Maybe we'll get one of those bucket stickers. Those exist already, of course. Yeah. That's it. The sequel is now paused. The sequel is now over. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys around the next stream. Don't know what I'm going to stream. Oh, wait, no. I do. Diablo Immortal comes out next week. That'll be the next stream. Will it be good? No, but I gotta put my phone to use somehow, right? Alright, guys. See you around, and have a good one.